Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nobody, and we are back in the Untrained Unprofessional garage working on my very first AK project, which is a Hungarian underfolder. And if you remember from the last video, I had pressed and pinned the barrel and also populated it. But I had not drilled and pinned the rear sight, the gas block, and the front sight because I wanted to go shoot it. And, the main hesitation behind all that was because, man, I really wasn't sure how lined up everything was. Well, luckily, after that video, someone had reached out in the comments and, just like gave some really good advice. And one of the things was that something I had read about a long time ago cause sometimes I like research well ahead of time, but it reminded me of something that I had read, and that was about using a laser bore sighter like this one from Bushnell. And that prompted me to immediately go to my local Cal Ranch, and I bought one. It was only like 40 bucks, $39.99 plus tax. And boy, did that make me feel all warm and fuzzy, because that allowed me to, with the laser bore sighter, I was able to project it off into the distance, lift up my rear sight because, well, I was very confident in my rear sight location because there's only so far I can go. But I was able to line up my rear sight, adjust my front sight, and then with the help of a little bit of fishing line, I was able to hook it onto the front sight, bring it back through the rear sight, and line up my gas block. So that immediately gave me the confidence to go ahead and drill and pin my rear sight block and my gas block. I still wanted to leave my front sight just in case anything was kind of funky when I went and shot it. Now, one of the things that helped me drill everything was this digital angle finder. And this is something that's not that expensive. I actually got this off of Amazon. It's a Johnson, which I don't know if the brand really matters, but magnetic, has a nice little V-block on the bottom so you can put it on round things like barrels. And that enabled me to get this nice and level on my X-axis and on my Y-axis so I can drill it. My rear gas block did have a little bit of an issue with a slop in the holes, and I noticed that when I was demilling, they were kind of buggered up and everything. So I went and it was tight going through the barrel, but on the right side of the rear sight block, it was very loose. So I ended up staking both sides just as a little bit of extra insurance. If it's ever a concern in the future, I could always get a drill bit that's a couple thou bigger, and that way it would produce a better interference fit if I need to in the future. So after both of those were pinned, I decided that I needed to go out and shoot it and see if this thing was going to blow up in my face. It ended up cycling just fine, and then I wanted to do a quick little test for accuracy, which was only at 25 yards. And that's the group that I just shot. Only 25 yards. I mean, it's not 100 yards, but I just wanted to initially see where we're at. So even though it was only 25 yards, it was shooting a couple inches to the right, which was actually okay considering that the front sight post was actually to the left. Is that if you want to move your impact left, you got to move your front sight to the right, and my front sight post is off to the left with how it is centered. So it'll actually make the front sight post itself look more correct by centering into the front sight, or at least get closer. So with the 25-yard accuracy, one of the things that I was kind of struggling with is, so as I age, I noticed that I'm relying on these for doing this a lot more. And just with the tent overhead and the lighting conditions, or at least that's what I'm hoping it is, this rear sight was super, super blurry while I was doing those 3 shots. And I'm hoping that when I go back out to do accuracy at 50 and 100, that the issues aren't there. I'm not going to have the overhead maybe. I don't know. It depends on how hot it is and the time of day. But yeah, other than, the accuracy of the ammunition, and I have no clue who made this barrel because it was just part of what this kit came with when I bought it off someone. Now, before I drill and pin this front sight, I do want to go over an elephant in the room, and that's the wood furniture. Now, you may remember that this is a Hungarian AK-63D, and if you saw the first video, you know that this is not the original color of the wood. It was kind of a blondish natural color, which I had mentioned that I wasn't too much of a fan of, and I was thinking about changing, which obviously I have. So what I ended up doing was I stripped it with a little bit of citrus strip, which there's the bottle right there, and then I started staining it. And I used some American walnut colored stain to get it to the color that I wanted. And then since I really want this to look like a used but well cared for rifle, I wanted to age the wood, so I used some charred wood accelerator. I think it came out pretty good. I wanted to protect the wood after that, so I applied a couple of coats of boiled linseed oil just very lightly, and I'm still on the fence if I want to do any more, but that just kind of gives you an idea of where I'm at. Now, this came with a leather sling, and the sling does not have that old but used, well cared for look, how it came. So I decided to change that, and I darkened it up, and I used some brown dye and just kind of twisted it and worked it and tried to give it some additional life to it. Now, the one other thing that I wanted to do to this, and that was actually to the stock. Metal is not always the most comfortable thing, especially when it's hot or when it is cold. And I kind of wanted to give it a little bit cooler, kind of custom look. So I bought some leather straps from D4 Guns. So this is what I bought. It is the leather cheek rest. And it looks like this, only it was a lot lighter of a color. I kind of stained it a little bit and kind of worked it to kind of give it more of a used and exposed to the elements and oils and whatnot. The only issue is that this is not for the type of stock that I have. It does say that it's for a stamped stock, which this is a stamped folding stock. The only thing is that on the Hungarian, this has more outside diameter than what this leather piece will actually cover. This covers 3/4, which would just be around the outside, but not anything on the inside, which I could maybe make work, but it would look kind of chintzy, I think. Talked to a nice guy named Alex, and he was very, very helpful. No, they don't have a product like this for the Hungarian, but he suggested that I email in to him and he would pass it on to the guys that do this type of stuff, one of the owners or the owner. And it's been several weeks and I haven't heard anything if there is something that they can do. I mean, I wasn't asking for my money back or anything because, yes, I already stained it before I figured out what the issue is, so no harm, no foul on that. But it would have been nice to just hear, hey, sorry, there's nothing we can do. So I've just been kind of left floating in the wind. That's not to say that this product is bad at all. I mean, it's a really nice leather. It's just too bad that I can't use it. But since I want to do some type of leather cheek piece, I went out and bought a piece of leather from my local craft supply. And specifically, this is from Tandy Leather. And this is a 12 by 12 2/3 ounce leather. I guess that's about the thickness or whatever. So I'm going to try cutting and stitching a piece for this. Okay, 3mm. So I'm not going to use a standard muzzle device or a slant brake. I'm going to use a Lantac Drakon, which was suggested by Mitch. I've used the Dragon before on ARs and I really like it, so I think this would be a good addition. It originally came as a nitrided part, which I sandblasted and parkerized to match the rest of it. Looks pretty straight. Now I got to figure out the leather thing. So this is a 12 by 12 piece of leather, and using a flexible tape, I figured out that this is about 2 1/8 inches in diameter. So I cut a 2 1/8 wide strip and then cut them in half, so I have 2 6-inch segments. Now what I'm going to do is use my old piece, or the piece that I paid 20 bucks for, and figure out a hole placement on it. And then with these cheap little 1/16 hole punch, I'm going to cut my holes in. At least that's the plan. I can screw up quite a bit. Holes are punched, so I'm just gonna get rid of these sharp corners. A little bit of quick rounded edges, not totally perfect, but hey, it's an AK. It's not supposed to be perfect. All right, so why you do this next step, I don't know. It's just what it seems like what happens. I'm using some Fibings deglazer. And I'm assuming this is to clean the leather and to prep it. All right, and using some Fibings walnut dye. And I really don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just putting dye on leather. All right, I'm gonna wipe off any excess. What do you think? I think it needs to dry. I'm not too worried about this looking consistent. I think I want it to look inconsistent. That'll help with the aged part of it. I got the leather how I want it, kind of distressed and old and used looking. A lot of that was just crinkling it up and bending it and whatnot. I also put on some leather balm with Adam's wax or Adam wax. And now I need to start stitching, so we will see how this turns out. To give you an idea, that's how mine fits. The one from D4 Guns just basically wraps around the stamped piece and doesn't come across. So I think what I could have done was go a little bit narrower on the width. Instead of 2 1/8, done like 2 1/16 or maybe even 2. But when you're learning stuff for the first time, when you're figuring this stuff out, sometimes those are the breaks. Overall, it's not bad. It's a synthetic sinew. All right. And there is the cheek piece. It came out pretty cool. I'm very happy with that. So last night I was watching a video, tactical rifleman, about zeroing the AK, and he was talking about doing a 25-yard zero, and that way at 100 meters, it was pretty much on. And he also said put the rear sight to the 200-meter line, and he has his explanations, for, it's like battle zeros and whatnot. So that's what I'm actually going to try today. So I have a paper target down at 25 yards, and the only bummer thing is that kind of windy, so my target is moving back and forth. Sometimes it moves about an inch or so, and sometimes it holds still. So we shall see how well it does. But I'm hoping to get it mostly on, and hopefully we can see some consistency. Hopefully. And the glare really sucks off the rear sight. And my target just blew over. See, it fall down. Those are the 3 shots that I took with everything moving side to side, back and forth, and whatnot. I need to come up and left. So I just fired 2 more shots just to see if I'm going in the right direction. And I mixed up which direction to do my front sight post. I need to push or send it down to go up, and I was thinking up, so I brought it up. So I actually impacted lower, but my sight adjustment to bring the impacts left was pretty decent. I need to go a little bit more, it looks like. Now, as for the tool that I am using, This is the tool that I'm using. It has the windage and elevation adjustment. It is by Magnamatic Defense, and I think I got this off of Brownells years ago. I don't know if this is the best one in the world, but it seems pretty good. Are there better ones? Maybe. I just can't tell you if this is the one for sure that you should get or not. I'm not an expert in these things. All right, so now I need to come down. And I just went pretty far on that. So let's see. This glare sucks. It's kind of early in the morning. I got the sun coming down like basically right in my face and everything. And with everything being blurry here, it is not making this easy on me. I'm questioning my sight alignment and everything. So I jerked 2 of those. I need to come up more. All right, so here are the 2 shots that I just did on the last adjustment. I'm gonna see if I can orient a little bit and get rid of the glare a little bit. All right, so glare is better. However, my eyes getting older and blurry close up is still an issue. Oh, yeah, that would have hurt. Let's see if I can do this any better. And the blur's making it hard. All right, so here are the 2 from before. There's 1, 2, and there's that one right there. So this is promising. I wish I didn't have blurry vision with it close up. I think I could do better with it. So I just fired my last 6 rounds, and it's really unfortunate because if you remember, I was talking about the tactical rifleman video and how to set up the rear sight, and I never adjusted the rear sight. It's still on the 1 instead of the 2, so I'm going to have to come out and re-zero for the battle 0 that he was talking about. So, but it's grouping. I pretty much have the windage taken care of. I mean, the wind is a little blowy today. We're getting 15 to 20 mile per hour winds at times, and it's actually not too bad right now. I should have waited, but I'm starting to melt in this tracksuit. Let's talk about the rifle. The leather. I have noticed that my initial concern on its size, how wide to go with it, I should have reduced it a little bit so that way, instead of just bringing the leather just tight, I should have been stretching the leather. So having a little bit of room for it to stretch and to cinch together would be a little bit better, because I do have a little bit of movement here on the leather. Nothing that would be detrimental or anything, and for a first attempt at trying to do any type of leather work at all, it's perfectly fine. Muzzle device, the Lantac Drakon. Wow, what a difference that made on the way the recoil impulse feels and the muzzle rise. It feels really, really good. I don't regret spending the buttload of money that that thing costs. I think it's like 170 bucks. I think something like that. You might be able to find it a little bit cheaper here and there, but I think that was about the price. What do I need to do on this besides come back out and retry or to re-zero? So I just shot this without doing anything to the crown. It's just how it was manufactured. And when I was looking at it earlier, it did seem like it wasn't the cleanest crown. It looks like it was just faced off and everything. So I'll probably put a 45 on it and see how it does. The other thing that I want to do, and this is just for my own personal deal here, is that the lower part of the handguard has a slight front to back movement. I think I want to lock that up just a little bit tighter, and I think I'll do that with a little bit of Acra glass so it doesn't feel like it wants to flop around. And it's really a minor thing. It's just more of a preference. I mean, because it doesn't affect how the rifle shoots or anything like that. Other than that, for a first build, oh, no, hold on. Let's talk about the Tapco trigger. So we're clear. This trigger, I haven't done anything to it. It is stock, it's just been lubed, which I lubed this system up with a lubriplate, and it feels really good. And I put some on the trigger engagement surfaces. And this trigger does not feel like it has a wall. It just feels like it just rolls off of it. And it's actually quite smooth. And it makes for a very nice surprise break. And as a matter of fact, one of the first times that I was shooting this, you see in one of the earlier videos where I almost kind of, well, I think I do flinch. And that was because I was expecting a wall and then a break. And then I figured out, no, this is going to be a surprise break every time. So, but the trigger pull is actually very nice for a Tapco. I was expecting to have to do something to it. Other than that, man, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and hopefully you guys like how it turned out as well. And I hope that I didn't offend you if I taking a Hungarian and changing the wood colors. You know, hopefully no one's face is melting off like I committed AK sacrilege. So, I mean, it's a non-matching kit, so go figure. It's okay to do stuff to it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Have a good day.